Hey there, YouTubers. Me again. Literally minutes ago, my lift quit working, and I ended up having to fix it. You will have to tune into that video because I didn't include it with this one. I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to get right to it, and I'm going to, first and foremost, I'm charging the battery since the last video. It's been on charge all week. I'm going to hook you guys up with looking at the fuel lines. I'm going to energize the fuel pump, see if we got any leakage, and if not, we're going to try to start it. Once it starts, if it starts, then we're going to look for, see if the carburetor, the fuel atomizer, see if that's doing anything. If it's working, make sure it's got an accelerator pump, make sure it's working properly. If it is, we're home free. We'll finish running the nitrous and we'll take this baby for a ride. If it leaks anywhere, or if the fuel atomizer just is leaking everywhere, or it just ain't working right, the accelerator pump ain't working, well, then this is going to become a rebuilding your Quadrajet video. So, guys, want to take bets? Who thinks it's going to be a carburetor rebuild video? You guys? Pretty good guess. I'm thinking might be. But these things are pretty darn durable. So maybe not. So how many of you think that it's going to run? I pulled it off a truck out in the field and just tossed it on here. How many of you think it's going to work right? Might be a little bit quirky at first, but once it runs, it's going to clean itself up. How many think? Woo! Wow! Wow! Okay. Well, let's see who's right. Let's go right to it. All right, peoples. Let's put some pressure to the fuel. Oh, we got pressure. We got pressure. I don't see any leaks. Do you? Let's do it again. I can hear it going in the carburetor. She's gurgling. Not seeing any leaks. One more time. Alright. Got it energized. Dashboard's lit up. See if I got any squirters. I don't see anything. Nope. I don't see any squirting going on. Let's give it one more energize and we'll try to start it. Dash is lit up, that's a good sign. Here we go. Alright, let's see. Just letting any fuel in. Oh gosh. Somewhere, I think it's the carburetor. See what she's got. Can't see without my glasses though. She's running a little rich. She's running about 6 pounds. That should be perfect. my wrench fell. Now, I do not know if my problem is my floats are sticking. It's coming out, it's bleeding out past the accelerator pump. So I'm thinking the accelerator pump might be fazoo. But that's where it's coming from. Could be because my floats are stuck, or it could just be it's getting past the accelerator pump. And that's where it's bubbling up at. So I'm just going to give it a little. So you can see it squirting right out of that accelerator pump. So it's coming out of the accelerator pump, getting past the pump itself. So my guess is this is going to be a carburetor rebuild. Great. Alright, well, you know, I knew it was either going to be carburetor rebuild video or it was going to be hooking up the nitrous video, and it looks like it's going to be rebuilding a Quadrajet. Now this is going to be a redneck rebuild. This is not going to be a full-on let's take this thing apart, because she's running really good and she's even idling. The problem is that fuel pressure is pushing past the accelerator pump and just causing it to flood. So now we might have been able to fix it if because it really shouldn't get that high. So the you know, even if it's getting past it, it should not. And hear that? It's just squirting right past there. It really shouldn't get past it at all. But we're at the very least going to have to put an accelerator pump in it, or an accelerator pump diaphragm in it, and or set the floats. Now, I guess we'll just wait till we get it apart to show you. With the floats, if you got a little bit more fuel pressure, you can set the float to compensate to try to put more pressure sooner. And so as long as it doesn't push past it when you've got it set like that. So we'll try a couple of tricks while we got her off, but unfortunately, she's coming off. Alrighty, we're getting ready to start on this. You'll notice I got a coffee can over here, and the reason being is because So we're just going to go ahead and put it up on the coffee can. Most of the bolts on the top of this, take the top off, or on the top. And there's some inside, there's some outside. The big humdinger is this little linkage right here. This little linkage, once you get the top off, you have to kind of finagle it, you know, all color. You'll see. But let's get these off of here first. Do I have a good enough screwdriver here? We got two little ones in here. We're going to start with those. Oh, they're loose. Whew. Now, the thing with carburetors is you do not want to ham-handedly tighten everything. You don't want to tighten it. You don't want it loose, but you don't want to tighten it so tight that you're turning it into stripping everything. You know what I mean? Come on, baby. Come on, baby. It doesn't want to come out. Maybe I should get a magnetic screwdriver. There we go. Come on, baby. Come on, come on. There we go. Alright, next one. I probably should have took them both out. It was running pretty darn good, and I realized there's a big vacuum line, I mean a huge vacuum line going out of there for the PCV valve, and that thing was wide open, so it was running pretty darn good for having a huge vacuum leak. Come on. Uh-oh. Oh, it is a little magnetic. Look at that. Alright, those are the two hardest ones. Let's go ahead and take this off of here so it's not getting damaged. Damaged? You know what that means, damaged? That is French for damaged. Okay, it's probably not really French. Take that out. Take that out. Now, I'm probably not going to go any, since this was running so good, I'm probably not going to go any deeper than taking the top off of it, because I think our problem is all in the float and in the accelerator pump. I think the accelerator pump's probably all dried out, and you know how that goes. These two are really, really long, so they're going to be stubborn. Oh, if the brakes don't break, whatever you do, don't break. Oh my. Not good. That one's fine. Please don't break. Please don't break. If it breaks, we'll be taking it apart more so and replacing it. I've got other Quadrajets, so that's not a huge deal as long as it doesn't break way down in the bottom. This one's out. Can I get to it to get a little spray on it? Oh, I can. Okay. So we're going to put a little spray on it because you can get to the bottom of it by opening this up here. Alright. Put a little bit of that make it happening stuff on there. So let's close it up. We don't want to twist this off. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Don't twist. Come on, baby. Please don't twist. When you're rocking and a rolling, I don't want you to twist. Because these are really, really skinny. I've never had this happen. This is the first time I've ever seen this happen. Just keep going back and forth, back and forth. This is a really small screwdriver for this too, so the good thing about that is I shouldn't be able to put too terribly much torque on it with this little tiny screwdriver. So, hopefully, it's making it more work for me, but it's also making it so I'm hopefully not going to break this screw. I haven't even got a full turn out of it yet. Come on, baby. Switch hands every once in a while. She's wearing me out here. Come on. I think I'm going to get a bigger screwdriver just because my hands are getting tired. I don't know how exciting this is going to be. Oh, it won't even go in. So this one's no good. That's crazy. Then again, maybe it will. If we give it a little tapperoonie. Nope. I guess we're going back to that little one. So that one won't quite fit in there. Alright. Up. Maybe just that little delay getting another screwdriver was enough for the penetrating oil to eat its way in there. Because now it's coming out. Woohoo! We didn't break it. Let's see if we twisted that bugger at all when we were doing what we were doing. Phew. Suspense was killing me. How about you all? Were you like, oh crap, he's gonna break, it's gonna break, it's gonna break! It didn't break, haha. A lot of y'all watch these shows because you like to see carnage. It didn't twist at all. Perfect. You like to see carnage. Not nice. Oops, we got one more. I know, I do the same thing. You watch those will it run and drive 600-mile ones because we wanted to see how they get through all the turmoil of it breaking down, right? So no, it'd be a totally boring video if nothing happened, right? And they just trouble-free, they get it running, and then just drive it home, no problems whatsoever. You'd be bored out of your mind, right? So we watch it just to watch things go wrong. Shame on us. Terrible. You got to be a little bit aggressive sometimes with these. Here we go, just to break the seal. If we can reuse the gaskets, that'll be awesome. If we can't, no big deal. I've got like 9,000 of them in my, what I call my carburetor room. It's actually a little room I built. Whoop, we got to take this one off. Oh, this one don't want to. Oh, great. What you can't see is over here we have a bell. Oop, I guess I better adjust the camera. There we go. We have this little dash pot, which slows it down, and it's hooked up too. But this one, we have to take this one off because we got to take the other one off. And this one has very not nice screw on it. Right here, it's kind of a big flatty. You just take that off. I think there's just the one, and it's got like pins that do it otherwise. So I take that out. Kind of a wedge. Sorry about that, my hand's in the way. Jeez, Dave. It's kind of one of those, what do they call those, bevel head screws? There we go. Now you gotta kinda just work this out of here because it's on this. It's a pain. Let's just say it's a pain. Make sure that's all the way out. See if we can get it to come out all the way. There we go. Then you just kind of take this. It's got a little. It's got a hose. Got to take the hose off. It's been a couple of days since I've done one of these. So if I look like I don't know what I'm doing, I do know what I'm doing. It's just been a while. Okay, so there we go. We're going to pull this out. Once you get it out, it fits into a little slot here on the side of the carburetor. And then you just kind of work that linkage out. Set everything down so you can put it back in the way it all came. This thing, I never did know what this does. You know, I put a hose on it just to keep it from leaking, but I don't know if it really does anything. But anyway, now we got this loose. We still have to do this. This actually has a couple of adjustments. If you look at it, it's got, that didn't sound good. What was that? I heard something fall. Did you hear it? Oh, it's this. This goes on this side. This is limits the rear barrels so they won't open when the choke is on, because you don't want to be engaging those big, huge rear barrels. And I'll show you that when we put it back on. So no big deal. Goes way down here. I'll show you. Anyway, that's what I heard. So now we're going to lift this up. We've got to kind of get everything. There we go. Kind of work that off of there. What I was showing you is it's got two holes. Okay, and it was on the inside hole. You can do it on the outside hole if you want to. Boy, that accelerator pump don't look bad. Let me tell you, that don't look bad at all. Let's see where my floats were sitting. Let's see if the float floats easy. It does. Almost too easy. Doesn't look like it's stopping anything. It's like, it's not going. There's no. There we go. Okay. Okay, so it's doing something. Everything's working really good on this. I'm going to throw a little carb cleaner in these holes. Oh, that one's kind of, there we go. See it come out of here? Alright, and then with this one. You want to clean all these out. I don't think any of these are clogged. I think, honestly, I think a lot of our problem is the fuel pressure's too high. Woo! That one's cleaned me right out. Woo! She was running alright, so I'm not going to worry too terribly much about cleaning all this out. Everything looks like it's working right. We're just going to have to take a look at this. Oh, we got to take, I hate taking that out. But we're going to have to just, it's got a little gasket here, if you will, and you've just got to gently pry up on that. And that usually will put it right back in. Just kind of set that aside. That seems to be working okay as well. This thing, what it has to do is it goes, oh, maybe it's not working well. Oh, that's not working at all. My bad. So we do need to put another one of these. Let's see if I can get it to loosen up. Yeah, this is when it's in here. It's supposed to bounce up and down, so that's a problem. That's supposed to go, it's supposed to be like on a spring. Let's try that again. And we'll put it back in a second where we can see what's going on. So let's take this out. Alright. Now what we can do is, if this isn't shutting off, we can set the float. It looks like I might have a little crud in there. See, that's what's happening inside the car, on the car. This looks great. It really does. Let's squeeze the jet. So it's a little dirty in here. Let's go ahead and put some fuel. There we go. So that's working. Can't really see. There we go. So that's working because it's going to come out the squirter. If I close this up, there you go. You see it squirting? Alright. I think it's pretty darn clean. This is not bad at all. So maybe the check ball, or just plain old. What we have is the I'll put it back in and I'll show you. Well, let's look at this first. This was a problem. So this was definitely, it seemed to be running okay, but this was a problem. And these need to go, which if I could see, we'd be better off. Alright, I was looking at that piece. It's this piece here. It actually just goes up and down inside that little gasket. I never really noticed that before. Now this has got a check ball in it. And we want to make sure that check ball, it seems to be running great. Just looking at it now, I'm thinking it's just too much fuel pressure. We're going to have to do something about the fuel pressure. So let's pull this out. See, that's holding the check ball in, and I'll have to get a magnet to pull that check ball out. Be careful, because magnets tend to hold a bunch of crud, and we don't want that. So let's go ahead and stick the magnet in there. It should pull the ball up. Come on. Of course it's not going to. That ball could be stuck in there too. Now I've got a, oh, there you go. I've got a bunch of, okay, let's pull that spring out. Let's go ahead and get this accelerator pump, see if I can't push the ball out. Where did I do it? Oh, it's still hanging in there. It actually looks pretty darn good. So let's go, come on, you gonna come out? It's letting fuel by the ball, so it must be, it's working. So I'm going to need to dump all this gas out of here so I can see what's going on. Just going to dump it into a little cup here. There it goes. You hear that? That was that little ball dropping out. Ooh, it's kind of dirty in there, though. Come on, where's that? You know, I still can't see it even. It's there it is. Ta-da! Right there. All right. So I'm going to throw a little bit of juice in here, clean everything up. I guess we're just going to have to find a way to trick the check the fuel pressure. Alright, that ball's back in. Because it's just pushing on past. Or we're going to have to go get a different regulator, because that regulator is just not playing nice. Those are supposed to be, you know, run about 5 pounds. I got it at 6 right now, and that's as low as I can get it to go. I'm not sure if there's a way to make them go any less than that. So now here's my float. Now with the float, what we're going to do, take this off of there. Now you'll see the float is pretty much dead straight, right? And so when it's in here, where'd my, there it is. You're going to hook your needle and seat to the little end, to the end of it there. Now, when this comes up, it's going to start, the level is going to stop right there. Okay? That's about where it's going to make contact and close it. So, it's pushing past that, and we could try to put another needle and seat in there. In fact, let's pull that one out and see just how good that one is. Maybe it's got a little crud in there. Now, for this, you need a very big screwdriver. They actually make a tool for it. I should buy one, but big screwdrivers work just fine. Don't use a smaller screwdriver because you'll muck it up. So there we go. I'm going to pull this out. It does have a little pressure ring in there that keeps it from... It looks okay, I think. That looks pretty darn good to me. So let's do this. Yep, she's seating. So in order to make it, okay, there's more than one way to skin a cat. You've heard that, right? I don't know who's running around skinning cats, but that's the saying. So around here, it's probably more than one way to skin a possum. But I'm just going to screw this back in here. Now, and I'm going to show you that trick in a minute, if I can get this to go in without stripping it. Nature's Loctite, right? You strip it. On this, you can't have things cattywampus. All right. So what I'm going to do, in order to put more pressure, you figure if this is in a position of, just before you get to the top, which is usually what you do. You try to get this piece here so that it's level with the top of the carburetor. But because we're having some excessive fuel pressure, we're going to turn it down a little bit, all right, so that it's going to start shutting the fuel off further down. So as the fuel gets higher and higher, it's going to put more and more pressure on that seat. So it's going to take more pressure to make it stop. Does that make any sense? Does that make sense? So the further down we set the float, the more fuel, it's going to have to go up higher, and the fuel, the higher it gets, it's going to push harder and harder on this, which is going to push harder and harder on the seat. So it should take more fuel pressure to push past it. Anything like that, anything that works off a spring, that's how the fuel regulators work, is there's a spring, and the higher the pressure to get past the spring, the higher your fuel pressure is going to be going in. So what we're doing is we're on the opposite end. We're trying to stop flow, so we want to put more and more pressure on the needle and seat. So by bending this a little bit, that's why if you look at the way it's made, it's got these little things so you can bend it, and that will put more pressure sooner. And the problem, is there any way to? Nope, there's not. Wonderful. But, yes there is. I could actually put this on the car and energize it. Yeah, I sure can. And then see if the pressure pushes past. So I think we're going to do that. I've never done that before, but we're going to try it. So let's go ahead and put this in. we'll hook up the fuel line, we'll energize it, and we'll just see if this is going to be able to stop it or if it's just going to overflow. Ah! That wasn't good. It's not a big deal. We'll just pick it up again. Oh, not on the rubber, not on the rubber. You don't want to break the rubber. Things can get bad. I might have enough. Probably got another one somewhere, but oops, what am I doing? Almost like I didn't know what I was doing. And now if I remember, this thing just slides over, right? Yeah, it just slides over. So okay. I might leave that out too because I want to see what's going on. Alright, now let's put this back on there. You gotta be kind of like have 6 arms to do this. Come on, what are you doing? There we go. Alright, now the float's going to start shutting off way, ooh, that might be too much. It's going to be shutting off way down there. That might be too much, I think. So let's take it back out and let's bend it back up just a smidge. Alright. And try it again. This has a little hook on it. You probably can't see it on camera, but this has a little hook on it. And that's what you're... Ah! And that's what I just lost. So let's get in there. There we go. Alright. Come on, baby. Get in there. It's being a pain. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's get her in there. Come on. Oopsie daisy. There we go. So yeah, it's going to start engaging right about there. And that ought to make it so it'll take a lot more pressure. So let's do that. I'm not going to start the car or anything. I'm just going to turn the fuel pump on. And I'm going to hold this down. And just see if it's going to push past that float. I'm going to turn the key on, which will energize the fuel pump, and then it should start filling the bowl up. See what happens. Oh, maybe I should try that again with the power on. Okay, the power should be on. Oh, it's not. Okay. Alright, I'm going to energize the fuel pump, and that should throw fuel into the carburetor. Well, let's see what it brings the float up to. Alright, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Oh, she doesn't want to energize. Here it is. It's not going any higher. Well, that's not high enough, I don't think. Yeah, she's... Let's see what kind of level we got in there. Yeah, it's not getting any higher than that, so that's good. So we're not going to flood anymore, but I don't know that... I don't think that's going to be high enough, to be honest with you. Needs to come up a little bit higher than that. So let's go ahead and adjust it, and we'll go from there. I don't know if you can see exactly how much fluid's in there, but she's right about here, just below that. And that's about halfway up the bowl. That keeps the bowl half full. And considering this pump is capable of pumping a lot more fuel than this carburetor needs, I'm going to say that's good right there. So we're going to leave it. I was thinking about adjusting it to let it up a little bit higher, but no, I'm pretty comfortable with it filling the bowl halfway. That way we're not going to have any chances of it spilling over. Before we go any further, now you can take the bottom off. There's not a whole lot on the bottom side of these, so if you're just squirting and if you squirt in one and it comes out another, everything's gold, right? So we've done all of that, and you can take the bottom off, and that'll open up a few of these air bleeds to see if they're working. I'm not going to go in through all that today, so this is going to be a hillbilly redneck rebuild. It's not going to be full-fledged tank it and make it perfect kind of thing, but this one's running pretty good. So I'm just going to go ahead and put her back together the way she is. So we're going to have to put this back in, and these go into your jets, so we're going to need a little bit of light here to line these up. There we go. And with the float in there, it's not that easy to line them up. But we'll get it. Come on, baby. Kind of need a third hand to hold these jets at the same time that I'm... There we go. That's that one. Come on. Jeepers, it's kind of hard to do with one hand. That's the problem. You need to kind of do them both at the same time. So I'm going to have to go a little blind here, I think. There we go. Well, that wasn't hard, was it? So we're going to go ahead and push this in there, and that'll hold it in there temporarily. Once you put the cover on there, that kind of keeps it all in line. There we go. Now this little, I don't know how well you can see that, but this little hooky thingy just kind of keeps it all together. I don't know why they put this on there. That's not really gonna do anything. Oh, there we go. It's got little hooks that are supposed to hook the little needles here to kind of keep them from going crazy on you. You just kind of grab them, run them over here and hook it up. There's one. Oh, it's got my finger too. Take the other one. Get it down. It doesn't want to play nice. It never does, really. She's kind of snaggled on this one. Probably can't see anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and wrestle with this. Oh, there we go. While y'all are... Never mind, I'll keep you all in here. Come on. Here we go. There we go. Good. Alright, now we got them snaggle pushed in there. Alright. That's working. Then we're going to put this back on. Like so. I think really all this needed was a float adjustment. Now here's the tricky part. Putting this back on. Now I was thinking about whether or not I can get this on, because there's a little bit of a humdinger when it comes to this. It's got to go over this, which is, you know, fun. And I can't remember. Yeah, it stays above it. So okay. And then this has to, see this piece here? Uh-oh, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, crap. Everything fell apart when I sneezed. Good heavens to Murgatroyd, Batman. Alright, let's take that out. Put it all back in. Now this, come on, has to go through that. See this square piece here? It has to go into the square piece here, like so. And that's what operates the choke, because this pulls the choke off. And that is the one part of a Quadrajet that absolutely sucks. Now, I've usually done it with the top on it already, because you got to be able to see in here. And I don't know if I'm going to have to get another light so I can see what's going on. But you put this has got a little clip that holds it on. on one side, and it just held in by the fact that this is really narrow in here on that side. And so it's going to come through this way, and we are going to just dump it in here. I need a tiny little light somewhere so I can get above this. Just gonna, and that's what happens. That's why this kind of sucks. Alright. I'm going to bring it down until it's right over this one. Right here. Pull this back. I'm going to drop this down to where it's got to pinch it. This is the hard part. This is the humdinger of it all right here. Gotta take a look at it. We're on it. Now we just got to turn it so it goes in. Everything's got to line up. It's a pain in the butt. It really is. This is the worst part of it all. Actually, I think it's got to go this way. Not going. Still looks like it's hanging up on that. We're in it though. So we just gotta finagle it a little. There we go. Ta-da! Yay, okay. So we're hooked up there. We're gonna put our screw in. But I don't know. I've always done it differently. I'm doing it a little differently this time because I have always put the... Well, I guess we can still do it that way. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's good. Alright, so that's working. Now we're going to have to hook that to this when we put it in. But I think we have enough to get that done once it's in. But this one is the pain. This one goes like so. And it's got, but it's got to go. Where does this go? What the heck? I'm losing my. Oh, that goes here. Okay. So this goes on the 4-barrel. It's the choke for the 4-barrel. And we're gonna go. We're gonna go in like that. Okay, I think we can do that. All right. Not too bad. Not too bad. Now. We've got this. I might want to replace that. That doesn't feel real good. It should be really kind of stiff. It doesn't feel real stiff. Let me see if I can find another one, because that one seems a little bit kind of weeny. It might swell once we start running it. Let's see if I can find another one. Here's the original, here's the replacement. This one seems a bit stiffer, and if you look, this one's a little bit out of shape. This one's nice and round. Now, the way you get this on, the kit comes with a tool. And you just take this, and you kind of push it down the cone. Well, that's not even easy to do. That's what they tell you to do, though. And that way you don't tear it when you put it on. There we go. And it should go on there. Definitely not. Well, that's just stupid. I'm going to use my stomach to get it on there. There we go. Yeah, that didn't work. That sucked. So anyway, just be gentle. stretch it over there. Yeah, that was a lot easier. They tell you to do it with that cone thing, but honestly, that sucked. Alright, now let's see if this fits a little tighter. Oh yeah, much tighter. Oh yeah, much tighter. Okay, so that ought to help a little bit. We'll save this one, because this would come in and, you know, it'll work in an emergency. Alright, now, you gotta, before you can put this on, now you got a bunch of goobly gobbly here. See these? These will go in pretty easy. I didn't rip this gasket, so we're going to reuse it. We got to line this up, we have to line this up, and then we have to line this up. Yay. Oh my goodness, we almost forgot. This would have been terrible. This has to go in here. And this goes in there. There we go. That's much better. That also makes it a pain in the butt. Alright. And really, I usually like to have, see this little flap? This has to go underneath this. So in reality, I think we're just going to, if we can get this off of here, I don't want to risk breaking it, so we're just gonna take this off. Just gonna take it off, because it's gonna cause me all sorts of problems. It's not really doing anything anyway. Alright. Alright. Now, for the magic. Oh, what was that? Oh, this stupid thing fell off of here. Now for the magic. We have to turn this. They're all crazy to get that on there. Okay, that's good. Now we got to put this down. Stick it. This is what the problem with the Quadrajets are. This is why a lot of people hate them. This is a pain to do all this. Now we got to line all these up. There we go. There we go. This has to go in here, which is not easy. There we go. Where'd that little screwdriver go? There it is. Yep, this has got to go here, and this is almost not big enough. Actually, it isn't big enough to get this to go in here. So we're struggling. Technically, you're supposed to kind of try to line everything up all at once, and then you got to fish this into this, which is basically what we're going to probably have to do. Yay! All right, let's see how this is. I wonder if it'll go. I don't think it's gonna. Nope. We're gonna have to pull this back out. There we go. We're gonna have to try to line it up from here. So we're gonna loosen this up. Pull it back out. There we go. Is it still on there? It is not. Well, actually, I think it is, so. This part is tedious, I'm not going to lie to you. Now you got to try to line these up. Actually, I usually take these out now that I think about it. That way you don't have to worry about lining those up. And it's just a matter of trying to get all of this hoopla lined up. We got gasket all the way around. We do. Yay! Okay.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.
about the rest of you, but the first ride after doing anything major is always a little nerve-wracking for me. So, this is going to be our maiden voyage on the new setup. I do not have the nitrous hooked up yet. I mean, it's plumbed. I just got to run the wiring and the switches. But it is Sunday afternoon. It's getting late. And so I am going to go spend some time with my family. But I am going to take this thing for a ride first. So here we go. Man, she fires right up. She's 148 degrees at the moment. Let her warm up a tiny bit before we go romping on it. Take it for a short cruise, then we'll bring it back to the driveway and give it a couple of dry hops just to see. I forgot how short I feel in this car. I really need a pillow. It's really she sit really low in this car. Really low. I got 56 pounds of oil pressure. Brakes feel good. Coolant's 155. Ooh, I only got a quarter tank of gas, but I guess that should be okay. She seems like she's running well. Check engine light. I think that's because I've got like 90% of everything under the hood unplugged. That's probably why. I've got a nitrous sticker. It's going to go right there. Oop, that's not good. It started to bog as soon as I gave it gas. So we're going to give it some, I don't want to get out into traffic and having that happen. So let's, she's 166, that might be why. Well, that's not a good sign. Could be because we still need a little choke action. 170. We're definitely going to have to put a hand choke on this thing, so we'll do an hand choke at the same time we do the wire all the nitrous in. So she's 174 now. Well, this is not a good sign. Wonder if I got a vacuum leak somewhere. That's usually what happens if you put it into gear and it stalls, which is not doing that. Oh, that's a little better. Okay. She just was cold-blooded. Alright, let's do a couple of dry hops now that we're in the 180 range. Starting to warm up a little now. 189. Here we go. Let's see if she shifts. That's going to be big easy. Oh, she shifted. 193 for temperature. Running stupendously. I'm not going to do a fun run until she's full temperature. Everything's working. Tack is working. Speedometer's working. She is idling a wee bit high. She just wants to go. That's very disappointing. Well, I'm not sure if I've got a dirty fuel filter or the fuel pump's new. It's the second one I put in this car. The one I took out was fine too. Maybe I've got a clogged fuel line or the regulator's bad, because it is an old regulator. I could put a new one in it because it's fluctuating between 1 pound or even 0 pounds of fuel pressure up to about 4, and it's bouncing back and forth. So I've got fuel pressure issues, which could have been the problem with the fuel injection all along as well. So honestly, we may have done all this in vain, but I'm kind of happy with it. But I'm going to try to do a couple more dry hops, and then we're going to take it for another ride and see if she definitely feels like fuel, like I'm running out. I don't think it's the float level because I'm watching that fuel pressure fluctuate. So let's do a dry hop real quick. That was okay. She tends to want to idle high after you floor it, and then she comes back down slowly. That could be because of the geometry of the cables are kind of cattywampus and goofed up. So let's put my seatbelt on here again. I'm going to try it one more run, and I'm going to call it a day. We may have some bugs to work out of this thing. May just need to drive it. But if she's running out of gas on me, driving it is not an option. So nope. She's running out of gas. It's not the float because the fuel pressure is acting all goofy. So the good thing about this though is as long as I drive slow, she's fine. So it would get me home if I had to. But we got to get that ironed out. We got to figure out what's going on. I'll try replacing the regulator first. I'm going to put an inline filter to see if I'm getting a bunch of crud. Yeah, that fuel pressure is really goofy. So I don't know if she's getting clogged up or what the deal is. This car is just not being nice to me. At least I know I can bypass any fuel injection problems. I definitely know it's not a problem with the FI because there isn't one. I put a brand new filter on this thing, and like with the fuel injection, it was bogging when it was at an idle. Shoot, she's idling at what, 1,500 RPMs? There we go, she came down a little bit. There we go, she's coming down. I don't know. We definitely got fuel pressure issues. Worst comes to worst, I will bypass this fuel pump and put in a Holly. This is really kind of strange happening. When you're watching the fuel gauge, you can literally watch it fluctuate back and forth. It's not staying at one particular pressure like it did when I first ran it. Well, another disappointing video. But I'm not giving up on this old girl. It's fuel. At least I know that for sure. The fuel pressure gauge is just not acting right. I have another regulator, so we're going to try that first. See if the regulators, maybe the spring is whatever. Regulators are pretty simple, to be honest with you, but that could be it. So we're going to try that first because that's the easiest thing. Doubt it's the fuel pump, but we could have a bunch of trash getting in the screen, and that could be it. So what we may end up doing is running with this system. It's really easy. I can run a hose off the front of the car and just keep cycling the key, and or run it off of a bottle and just empty the fuel right out of the car and see what's happening there. I can actually physically see the fuel come out of it. So with this setup, it's going to be very, very easy to test, and that's kind of what I wanted to do with this. Simplify. If I'm driving this down the road and this happens, I know what I can do to make it happen. I get a clickety-clack and hook it up in line and bypass all of it. Now, if it's the screen that's dirty, which shouldn't be because I put a new one of those in and I cleaned the tank, remember? if you watch those videos back then. So all of that should be eliminated. So unless there's some kind of an electronic issue with the pump, which is possible, a bad ground or something making the pump not want to hold pressure, that could very well be it. So if that's the case, we can either hot wire the pump, replace the pump. There's a million different ways we can fix that. Being carbureted now, it's going to be a lot easier, but we definitely want to make sure that nitrous never goes dry before we go press that button, right? So anyway, I apologize. We did get to go for a ride, but it was really lame. I didn't get to give it gas but for a few seconds before she fell on her face, which, you know, I've had that happen before already. This carburetor should be much more forgiving when you're driving normal. I could probably drive it normal and be okay, but what fun is that? I'm going to have to, she's running 4 pounds, which should be fine. Alright, temperature's 145. Check engine lights on, imagine that. All the gauges appear to be working. Idle at 600. Turn this baby around here in the driveway. Seems to be idling a tad low. We can fix that easy enough. It's a carburetor. Took it for a ride right after we finished, and it started bogging out on me again. Did a little research, and I found out that I'm not totally sure, but I think when I installed the fuel pump, I accidentally installed the return tube on the outside of the little bucket, which means it wasn't refilling itself. And so what happened in the last video, which is still this video because I'm just continuing it, what happened is the return tube is throwing the fuel back in outside the little bucket, so once the fuel gets below the height of that bucket, she's running out of gas. And I'm pretty sure that's precisely what just happened in the end of the last frame here. So now I'm still pretty low on fuel, but I've got at least a quarter tank of gas. And now that I've got the return line feeding into the little bucket that it's supposed to, the bucket is there in order to keep you from running out of fuel under heavy acceleration. When all the fuel sloshes to the back of the gas tank, there's some stays in that little bucket, and then the return line just keeps feeding that fuel back into that bucket so it never runs out. So pretty much you can run this car until there's nothing left in it, which is pretty good. Well, you got about a cup and a half of fuel in it. So when it's running out of fuel at a quarter of a tank, something wrong. You know that Chinese guy, something wrong? Yeah, him. So now, I also took, while I had the lines off, I went ahead and blew them out. I threw some air through them all to make sure none of those were clogged. And when I finished up last week, the fuel pressure was going like from 3 to 0, 3 to 0, 3 to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 0, and it was pretty much dancing between zeros. It was running out of gas, basically. Now she's staying up 6 pounds. So we're going to take her for a little drive. It's 176 degrees in the engine right now. So we're going to take it for a little soft ride just to try her out. And pulling out in front of a truck, so let's hope it works. So far so good. Very good. Alright. I don't like to go too far from home until I know what's going on. So this is my little turnaround here. And that way, if something goes bad, I'm not exactly towing it very far, if you know what I mean. I see a lot of YouTubers, they just go, and I'm like, well, that's awesome. One of them I watch quite a bit. He's got a tow truck, so that's not a big deal. I have a trailer, which still makes it, you can do it, but it's a bit of a job. So now we're at 198. That should be plenty warm enough to give her some mustard. So we're going to pull her out into the street. I'm going to give her some mustard and hopefully it won't die out. Low gear, ready. Oh yeah. A little short shift in there. But she's no longer bogging. I'm going to have to put a transmission kit in this thing because it just doesn't shift when I want it to. But I would say it's a win! Woo! It's been quite a while since the last time I was able to treat this. Come on, don't run out of fuel. Now she don't want to idle. I think she might be. I'm thinking she may have just dumped a bunch of fuel. Because the idle's so low. Oh yeah, I smell fuel. I smell fuel. I think she's dumping fuel. Shut her off. Woo, I smell fuel. That's a win. Woo, I'm finally glad I didn't give up on this car. She's running stupendous. I do need to put a different fuel regulator in it. I didn't realize that these fuel regulators started at 6 pounds, or 5 pounds. It says 4.5 to 5. But I can't get them to go that low, so I guess it depends on the strength of the pump behind it. And this pump probably puts out 50 pounds or so, and then it's regulated down. So I'm guessing I just need a different regulator. So I did just order a couple off of Summit Racing that are from 1 to 4 pounds. 1 to 4 pounds. So we can crank that baby all the way up. 4 pounds at that much volume should be fine. The lowest I can get it right now is 5 pounds, and she's still wanting to flood. So I just need a different regulator. I'm considering that a happy. She is down to lower than a quarter of a tank right now and still running good. So whatever was either in that return line or it was not going into the tub like it was supposed to, which is a great idea, making that bowl in there, if it works. If it doesn't work, not such a good idea, right? But anyhow, we've got the bugs worked out of her. I think if I found that, I probably would not have had to remove the fuel injection. But I found a lot more power without the fuel injection just because the ports were so little bitty on that. About half of the actual port of the head. That just can't be good, right? I'm thinking they must have dumbed them down for some reason for the purpose of, EPA or some craziness. Because, you might save 1 molecule a day on, when you're running your car. But anyhow, it's working good now. I'm excited. I'm getting too much fuel, which is a good thing, right? Not yet. It is, but it isn't. But I'm going to get a different regulator. We're going to regulate it down. I'm going to get 2 because the same thing was happening to the Gremlin. I just could not get that regulator to go down far enough because I'm feeding that Holly blue pump. Neither one of these cars need a blue pump. This doesn't have. This has a stock pump in it, which is great. But the Gremlin has a blue in it. I really only needed a red. So, Anyhow, gonna call it a win. I'm glad I didn't give up on this last week. I just wanted one more try, have one more thing, and it worked. Yay! Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. That's quite important to me. And, it's free. All right? So, hit that old subscribe button if you don't mind. And tell your friends. Hit the like button. See ya!